Hi, everybody. So last talk of the day, we'll blast through this, right? So I'm 28 and a quarter years old, which I would say to like 90% of you means that I am a full-fledged adult with life figured out. And I would say for the other 10% means that it is downright shameful that I am standing here pretending to be a full-fledged adult with his whole life figured out. And I would tend to agree with the elderly among us. But I think that I have a story to tell that, I think has some value. So this is me when I was 8 years old. The best Halloween costume I could come up with was a guy with a puppet. Like, I didn't even wear a glove on my real arm that matched my fake arm. But, by that point I was already really into making things and sewing. And, in fact, here's the whole list of things I wanted to be. Doctor, biologist, primates primarily, astronaut, inventor, all these things. And by the time I hit 8th grade or so, astronaut was out. We had discovered that I was colorblind and got motion sick extremely easily. And then puppeteer went because that is not cool in middle school. In fact, by the time I hit high school, the only things I wanted to be was attractive, funny, what was the last one? I can't see it from here. Popular and valedictorian. I ended up being valedictorian. So from there, it was off to the University of Akron. And for the first 3 years of college, I felt like I was on fire. I was taking classes in whatever I wanted and majoring in nothing. I ran an independent film festival, and I spent a lot of time up at the campus TV station making really terrible sketch comedy. But then reality started to set in towards the 4th and 5th year, and I realized that I needed to do something. So I took an internship with the J.M. Smucker Company, accounting for the jars of jelly and the lids that go with them that make civilized life possible. And I really didn't enjoy it. I would say I hated it. But I majored in accounting anyway because I felt like it was extremely flexible and it would let me be successful and comfortable in my life. So several months before graduation, I'm sitting in the attic in my house feeling neither successful because I had no accounting jobs lined up and had just been rejected for an internship with Pixar, nor comfortable because it was 105 degrees in the attic, and accidentally received my landlord's mail. And my landlord was a Carnegie Mellon alumni, and on the back of the alumni magazine was an article about a program called the Entertainment Technology Center that mentioned Disney, DreamWorks, Pixar, EA, and Microsoft all in the same sentence, and then I suddenly found myself with a plan. So essentially, on a whim, I moved to Pittsburgh and enrolled in Carnegie Mellon at the Entertainment Technology Center, and then I kind of did the same thing again. I cast my net super wide. I was producing and directing an animated short. I was building physical props. I was helping with the design of video games and interactive experiences. And I looked around at the other people who had been following these passions for years to lead them up to this point. And I realized how foolish I was to think I was going to run away and join the entertainment industry. I was again nearing graduation. I again had no plan, no idea what I was going to do or where I was going to head. And I started to try to figure out what to do with myself. And my solution was to pour a lot of time into figuring out how to market myself. So I stared at a computer screen at my blank website for literally months trying to figure out how do I explain to people what I do. I had done a lot of producing for projects in grad school, but I didn't like that because that just meant I knew how to use Excel. And I had worked in film a lot, but that had just taught me that I really didn't enjoy the film industry. So I didn't know where to head. And I think that the reason is because there's kind of only one way that I thought about looking at my life. And it was sort of this method that I am going to call the standard course of action, or it sounds like you can call the toxic culture of education. And it's the idea that you go to school, and then that gets you into college, and that gets you a major, and that major gets you a internship, and then a job, and then a career, and then you retire, and it's a one-size-fits-all sort of thing that really works great for some people. I'm not entirely knocking it, because if you are the kind of person who knows what you want to do from go, it's great. You know you're going to be reasonably financially secure. You know you're going to be reasonably respected, reasonably successful, and reasonably happy with the choices you've made. But I think, much like a pair of socks, even though it's one size fits all, it never really looks good on you. So I think there's another way to approach how you head towards the future. And I think the reason it's not used a lot is because it hasn't been systematized in the same way that the standard course of action has. And I think to keep things consistent with what's in your programs, we will call it finding the thread. So I believe that in everything you do, in every hobby you have, every project you undertake, every weird side diversion misadventure you're on, I think there's a thread running through each of those things. And these threads are powerful things. They are what gets you up in the morning and makes you excited to keep doing what you're doing. And I think that if you can tease out these threads, they're always something simple, even like atomic. It's not, I want to be a doctor. It's, I enjoy the feeling I get when I'm helping someone else, or I really like working with my hands. And if you can pull these all together, they can be very, very powerful. They can be the rope that you use to climb a mountain. They can be the blanket that you have when insecurity creeps in, or they can be the markers along the most interesting path possible to your future. And for me, it took me a long time to come up with what these threads were, but some of them for me are I really like building things. I really like to be organized, which is actually why I think accounting worked for me. I really like to understand how to make people laugh. And I like to feel like there's a sort of secret behind everything. The built world, organizations, people, I like that little bit of mystery. And I think, though, you have to remember that this can also be a terrifying way to lead your life. Because even though there's a system there, it's one that might not leave you as financially secure, might not be obvious until you're already through it how you were going to get there. It's scary. I think anybody can try this, and I think it will work, but I think I would be irresponsible to not tell you that it's scary to do. But once you get through it, once you find these threads, it's amazing, because you have then the story of who you are, why you do what you do, and how you do it. And that's a powerful thing. In fact, your sense of self is just the story you've been telling yourself over and over since you were old enough to think about it. So my story started to head in a really interesting direction. After grad school, when I was sitting there not sure what to do, some friends and I entered Imaginations. That's Walt Disney Imagineering's annual design competition. And for those of you who don't know, the Imagineers are the group of artists and scientists and technicians and engineers that build all the Disney parks and rides and attractions and cruise ships and hotels throughout the world. And we got the chance to take our design to them and pitch it. And then, you know, it was a competition and you get a trophy. But that wasn't the reward. The reward was that we got to be among and talking to these world-class designers and scientists. They have rocket scientists working at Walt Disney Imagineering. And, you know, one great conversation led to an internship, led to a job. And now I'm working with, like I said, just world-class entertainers, rocket scientists, roboticists, to create brand new ways to experience entertainment, brand new kinds of entertainment to experience. And my sort of personal thing that I'm excited about are things like this. This is Lucky the Dinosaur. He's an older project because I can't talk about anything we're currently working on. But he is a fully autonomous character. He walks where he pleases. He engages with whoever he cares to engage with. And if you were a 6-year-old kid, or anyone who's ever been a 6-year-old kid, to meet a dinosaur, a real-life dinosaur in real life that you can pet, that's an amazing experience. That can be transformational for somebody, and that, to me, is like where all these threads led for me, is to create things like this, and that's really satisfying. So I think you can use this method if you care to. I think you can use this too. And I think that it's, one thing I tend to dislike about TED Talks is there doesn't tend to be a tangible takeaway. So I want to give you something really practical. If you feel like this is a thing you want to try, what you need to do is you need to sit with your thoughts, and you need to write a lot about anything you've done, your hobbies, your, like I said, any projects, teams, whatever. The formal stuff that you feel like is on the path, and all the weird side diversions. And you need to answer for yourself, like, what did I do? What role did I actually play? What did we achieve? What were our challenges and our successes? Where did we fail and why? And like, how did we actually, or I actually do the thing I did? Because if you take the time to think through those things, the threads will become apparent, and you'll be able to start collecting them and gathering them up. And then when you do a job interview, it's not about a resume that's a stamped template that you filled in. It's a quilt that every line contributes a thread to tell the story of who you are. And then a job interview, in fact, isn't scary anymore, because it's you telling a story instead of you defending a position. So I would say, give it a shot. I mean, why not spend an afternoon being introspective? Why not value the time you've spent thinking about why you like video games? Why not value that as highly as the time you spent contributing, working towards your minor? Why not, because what's the worst that's gonna happen? At worst, you lose a couple hours of an afternoon. But I think more likely what you'll find is a really powerful new tool to help you think about your path to the future, and look confidently at that future, and then take a left. So, with odds like that, why not?